When most men feel threatened, they react loudly, impulsively, and often emotionally. But when a Sigma male feels threatened, something different happens. He doesn't explode. He doesn't rush to defend his ego or prove his strength. Instead, he calculates. Like a grandmaster in a psychological chess match, the Sigma doesn't panic. He plans. His silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Rather than meeting aggression with aggression, he retreats, not out of fear, but out of foresight. He observes the terrain, the players, and the motives. While others are caught in the moment, he's already 20 moves ahead, mapping out outcomes with surgical precision. This is not the story of a man who shouts to be heard. This is the story of a man who listens to understand. Sigma males are rooted in logic and independence. Their brain chemistry is often wired to favor introspective thinking, meaning their prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, problem-solving, and emotional regulation, is highly active. In moments of confrontation, while others react from the amygdala, the fight or flight center, the Sigma taps into higher reasoning. He doesn't fear conflict, he studies it. He knows that energy spent proving oneself to doubters is energy wasted. Instead, he lets results speak, and when it gets personal, when betrayal, disrespect, or danger looms, he doesn't escalate. He evolves. He upgrades his mindset, trims unnecessary alliances, and adapts his strategy. It's why Sigmas are often underestimated. Their power doesn't announce itself, it unfolds quietly, methodically. While the world looks for dominance in volume and visibility, the Sigma's dominance lies in discipline and detachment. This isn't content for the average man. This is for the one who never bowed to social pressure, never sought validation, and never needed a crowd to move in power. It's for the strategist behind the silence, the man who, when backed into a corner, doesn't break, he builds. Welcome to Brain Boosters, where we study not how to be seen, but how to become unstoppable. Let's begin. Number 1, controlled disengagement. When the world tightens its grip, most men push back. They fight harder, speak louder, and try to control everything around them. But the Sigma male operates by a different code. He doesn't meet pressure with pressure. He dissolves the grip by loosening his own. This isn't weakness, it's what psychologists call a form of boundary setting that prioritizes mental sovereignty over social validation. The Sigma doesn't argue, doesn't beg, and doesn't explain. He simply withdraws. It's not a dramatic exit, it's a silent shift of energy. One moment he's there, the next he's not, and those who took him for granted are left in the echo of his absence. This form of controlled disengagement is rooted in deep emotional intelligence. Rather than letting toxicity infect his inner world, the Sigma male recognizes when a space, person, or situation is compromising his peace, and instead of fighting to change the environment, he changes within it. Science backs this up. Studies in neuropsychology show that emotional detachment, when done intentionally, can lower cortisol levels and preserve long-term cognitive function. In other words, detachment isn't escapism, it's protection. This quiet form of recalibration allows the Sigma to preserve his clarity and autonomy. He doesn't ghost out of immaturity, he leaves because he's already extracted the lesson. His silence isn't passive, it's powerful. In a world addicted to reaction, the Sigma chooses stillness. When chaos demands a response, he offers none. When drama seeks attention, he becomes invisible. This is the essence of his resistance, non-availability. Because once the Sigma pulls his energy back, the dynamic collapses. No more fuel for manipulation, no more participation in dysfunction. He understands that the most potent way to fight a toxic system is not to destroy it, but to starve it of attention. That's why the Sigma male doesn't yell or protest. And in that void, those who underestimated his presence begin to understand its true value. Number 2, mental reprogramming. Where others crumble under emotional weight, the Sigma rewrites his internal script. While the average person may relive emotional trauma on a loop, carrying resentment, repeating toxic cycles, and allowing pain to define them, the Sigma male takes a radically different approach. He doesn't simply endure pain, he dissects it. Like a seasoned coder debugging a complex system, he studies the source of his suffering with brutal honesty and laser focus. Instead of reacting emotionally, he analyzes patterns and behaviors, recognizing that emotional triggers are not enemies to be buried, but data points to be decoded. In neuroscience, this approach mirrors cognitive reappraisal, a psychological strategy shown to reduce negative emotional responses by reframing the meaning of a situation. The Sigma does this instinctively. He doesn't seek to be louder or more dominant in response to threats or failure. He becomes cleaner, more refined, like software that's been updated to remove bugs and optimize performance. His evolution is internal, quiet, and efficient. He doesn't let trauma mutate into bitterness. He doesn't suppress his emotions, but studies them until they lose their control over him. As a result, what breaks others only builds him. Stress and chaos become part of his calibration process. This is not emotional coldness, it's emotional intelligence at its highest level. He understands that real power lies not in pretending not to feel, but in refusing to be ruled by feeling. In a society that prizes instant reactions and loud personalities, the Sigma male's silent mastery stands out. He doesn't need validation, applause, or understanding. His transformation happens behind closed doors, in quiet moments of self-reflection and calculated reconstruction. While others are shaped by external pressure, the Sigma is sharpened by it. Threats don't mold him, they force him to upgrade. Like steel forged in fire, he emerges more resilient, more precise, and far more dangerous, not because he retaliates, but because he refines. His software is updated not through drama, but through discipline. Pain doesn't imprison him. It programs him with new clarity. This is the Sigma's true edge, not brute strength, but emotional strategy. Not louder, just cleaner. Number 3, strategic silence. In the Sigma male's world, silence is never a sign of weakness. It's a calculated strategy. Unlike the Alpha, who commands attention, or the Beta, who seeks approval, the Sigma retreats into stillness when confronted, threatened, or tested. This is not passivity, it's a tactical shift to what could be called a low-signal, high-awareness mode. When others get loud, emotional, or reactive, the Sigma becomes quieter and more deliberate. His silence is not absence, it's analysis. He observes everything, the tone of voice, the hidden intentions, and the unspoken dynamics in the room. Neurologically, this aligns with how highly self-aware individuals activate their prefrontal cortex under pressure, using logic over impulse. In evolutionary psychology, this behavior mirrors lone wolves in the wild. Animals who don't bark when challenged, they assess, calculate, and act only when the odds are in their favor. The Sigma male operates much the same way. His silence becomes disarming. It throws off aggressors who expect either resistance or submission. Manipulators find no emotional cues to exploit. Loud personalities are met with a mirror that reflects nothing. It's unsettling, because society is used to noise, arguments, defensiveness, and over-explaining. The Sigma offers none of that. What he offers instead is presence, not performance. That presence feels powerful, precisely because it withholds energy. And the world, addicted to validation and reaction, doesn't know how to process that. The Sigma male is aware of this psychological advantage and leverages it in both personal and professional settings. Whether in a negotiation or a confrontation, he controls the tempo by controlling his signal output. He slows things down, he waits, he watches. This is not about avoidance, it's about dominance through restraint. In a world where everyone's broadcasting their opinions and emotions 24/7, the Sigma male becomes a mystery, and mystery is power. His silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Behind every quiet glance is a mental blueprint. Behind every pause is an intention. And when he finally does speak, every word lands with precision because it was chosen, not thrown. That's what makes the Sigma male so unnerving to opponents and so fascinating to observers. He doesn't play by volume, he plays by control. And in that game, silence wins. Number 4, redirection, not reaction. He doesn't waste time reacting to attacks. Instead, he redirects his focus, his time, and his energy. While most people live in a constant state of emotional reactivity, jumping from one drama to the next, the Sigma male does something radically different. He doesn't chase after every insult or defend every misunderstanding. He understands a timeless truth that many miss. Attention is currency. Whatever you give your attention to, you empower. So rather than waste time in petty arguments or emotional battles, he withdraws from the noise and realigns with purpose. He doesn't fight distractions, he replaces them with direction. Studies in cognitive psychology reveal that the human brain thrives when engaged in purpose-driven behavior, not chaos. Sigma males intuitively grasp this. While others burn out by reacting to every beep, buzz, and breaking headline, the Sigma preserves his most valuable resource, his mind. He uses it not to react, but to create. In a world where reaction is the default, he stays in creation mode. This doesn't mean he's passive or disconnected, it means he's disciplined. He knows that control isn't about dominating others, it's about mastering yourself. In the art of martial discipline like Aikido, practitioners don't block attacks head-on. They redirect the energy, turning the opponent's force into momentum for their own movement. That's the essence of the Sigma's life philosophy. Calmly, precisely, without noise, he builds, he creates, he lives with intention. Neuroscience even supports this approach. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making center, is strongest when not hijacked by emotional triggers. The Sigma male operates from that higher level of awareness. While others are slaves to reaction, he is the architect of direction, and that makes him rare. He's not avoiding the world, he's mastering his place in it. Every move is deliberate. Every silence is loaded with strategy. In a society obsessed with speed and noise, his stillness speaks volumes. It's not weakness, it's power under control, because at the end of the day, a man who can't be provoked, distracted, or manipulated is a man who can't be defeated. Number 5, energy stripping. The Sigma male is allergic to wasted energy. Every ounce matters to him. Unlike those who thrive in chaos or need constant social engagement, the Sigma operates with surgical precision. When he senses a threat, be it emotional manipulation, toxic people, or environments that drain rather than nourish, he doesn't react impulsively. He scans it silently, with a calculating mind. Like a tactician surveying a battlefield, he asks pointed questions. Is this situation worth my attention? Is this person worth access to my mental and emotional world? Most aren't. And when the answer is no, he doesn't announce it. He doesn't need drama or theatrics. He simply begins to withdraw, not out of fear, but out of respect for his time, his mind, and his peace. Emotionally, he detaches. Socially, he distances himself. Mentally, he closes the file and moves on. And when he walks away, he takes nothing with him. No guilt, no bitterness, no baggage. That's because energy is his currency, and he spends it like a minimalist investor. Scientifically, our brains consume a vast portion of our body's energy. The Sigma male, whether consciously or instinctively, protects his cognitive bandwidth like a scarce resource. Studies in psychology confirm that high self-monitoring individuals tend to conserve emotional energy by avoiding unnecessary social obligations. The Sigma is an expert at this. He's not cold-hearted, he's clear-headed. While others leak energy through endless arguments, people-pleasing, or overthinking, the Sigma is cutting cords. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he cares too much to waste. He doesn't let external chaos dictate internal peace. His silence is not weakness, but strategy. His detachment is not apathy, but wisdom. In a world that constantly demands attention, the Sigma's refusal to be drained becomes his ultimate shield. He doesn't fight every battle, he vanishes from the ones that don't deserve him. Energy for the Sigma male is not just about stamina, it's about sovereignty. And in preserving it, he keeps something far more valuable than time: control. Number 6, emotional neutralization. Threats often come through emotional games: guilt, shame, and fear. These aren't just petty tactics, they're deeply rooted in human psychology, often used to manipulate and control. But the Sigma male, a man who exists outside traditional social hierarchies, is built differently. He doesn't fall for the bait. Where most people might react with outrage, panic, or desperate explanations, the Sigma responds with nothing. He neutralizes. His silence isn't submission, it's a calculated absence of energy. When someone tries to guilt him, he doesn't explain himself. When they attempt to shame him, he doesn't defend his identity. When fear is used to corner him, he doesn't retreat. He simply doesn't engage. This emotional discipline isn't accidental. It's the product of introspection, solitude, and self-mastery. In psychology, there's a term called emotional detachment, which, when healthy, allows individuals to maintain boundaries and think clearly under pressure. The Sigma has mastered this. He doesn't match their heat. He cools the room with indifference. This calm, almost eerie stillness is disarming. Imagine arguing with a man who won't raise his voice, won't flinch, and won't give you the satisfaction of emotional feedback. It turns their chaos into a monologue, one that echoes back to them with increasing absurdity. In a society addicted to emotional reaction, where outbursts are rewarded with attention and drama becomes currency, the Sigma male is a psychological blackout. He cuts the power, no emotion, no argument, no energy, just stillness. And in that stillness, manipulators lose their grip. They realize their games don't work here. Their arsenal becomes obsolete. The guilt has nowhere to stick. The shame dissolves in the silence. The fear rebounds like a boomerang. It's not that the Sigma doesn't feel, he simply chooses not to be ruled by feeling. That's his power. In the storm of emotional warfare, he becomes the I, calm, unmoved, untouchable. And while others may burn out in the fire of toxic engagement, the Sigma walks away cold, composed, and completely unaffected. His silence is not emptiness, it's dominance. Number 7, no signal reaction. Most men, whether they realize it or not, leak signals. These signals can be facial expressions, defensive body language, or verbal responses that reveal fear, pride, annoyance, or insecurity. In social dynamics, particularly in power struggles or manipulative environments, these subtle cues give others an emotional roadmap, a way to provoke, manipulate, or gain the upper hand. That's the average man. But the Sigma male operates on a different frequency. When conflict arises or tension fills the air, the Sigma doesn't offer a twitch of the eye, a change in tone, or a reaction to bait. He goes silent, not out of fear, but out of strategy. This is not passivity, but a calculated removal of emotional currency from the game. By giving no signal, no status update, no defensive rebuttal, no exaggerated posturing, he creates a kind of social void that others don't know how to fill. And in a world that thrives on control, that's terrifying. Human psychology is wired to respond to social cues. We read micro-expressions and tone of voice like radar systems scanning for weakness or authority. But when someone gives you nothing, no resistance, no emotion, no visible stance, you're left without a map. It's like trying to control smoke with your bare hands. That's the power of the Sigma. It's not just silence. This disarms threats because manipulation requires emotional traction. If someone's trying to provoke you but you don't react, they lose control. If they try to gauge your position and you give them nothing, they're stuck in the dark. That's unsettling for predators who rely on psychological dominance. They can't dominate what doesn't engage. This behavior is rooted in evolutionary psychology. Signals once meant survival. But in the modern world, over-signaling often leads to exploitation. The Sigma understands this instinctively. So instead of signaling status like an alpha or seeking support like a beta, he removes himself from the emotional chessboard entirely. And when there's no signal, there's nothing to decode, nothing to manipulate, nothing to control. It's the ultimate form of quiet power, a calm storm that refuses to be read and because of that, remains untouchable. Number 8, building in the dark. While others panic in the spotlight, the Sigma disappears into the shadows. But don't mistake his absence for weakness or fear. He's not hiding, he's building. This is the fundamental difference between Sigma males and the rest of the social hierarchy. While alpha males dominate the stage and beta males follow, the Sigma male chooses solitude as his forge. Psychologically, Sigmas are introverted, self-sufficient, and highly introspective individuals. They don't need validation from crowds or approval from authority. They thrive in the quiet, where distractions fade and clarity emerges. In these silent periods, the Sigma male is not idle. He's crafting his next move, mapping his strategy, upgrading his mindset, and sharpening his skills. Science backs this with studies on introverted personalities showing that solitude enhances creativity, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. These are qualities the Sigma male wields like tools. He invests in his future without the need for applause, and this long game often leads to outcomes that shock everyone. When he returns, he doesn't come back loud or boastful, he's just different. Not bitter from the world's chaos, just better. More focused, more capable, more refined. Because when the world throws conflict, distraction, or drama, the Sigma doesn't break. He doesn't react with emotional volatility or rush to prove his point. He retreats, not to escape, but to evolve. Building in silence is his power move. It's the strategy of a man who knows growth doesn't happen on stage. It happens in the shadows, behind closed doors, in the dead of night when no one is watching. And by the time the world catches on, it's already too late. he's already 10 steps ahead. The Sigma's transformation is not flashy, but it is powerful. It's the result of intentional isolation, relentless self-improvement, and a refusal to be distracted by noise. His silence isn't emptiness, it's activity. His absence isn't weakness, it's preparation. And when he emerges, he doesn't need to tell the world he's changed. The results speak for him. In a world obsessed with visibility, the Sigma male proves that real strength doesn't need to shout. It just needs time, discipline, and silence to build something the noise never could. A threat to the Sigma isn't a reason to panic. It's a signal, a whisper, not a shout. It doesn't trigger fear, but rather sparks a quiet transformation. While others might react with loud defiance or visible defense, the Sigma male retreats, not to hide, but to sharpen. This is the nature of a man who lives outside the social hierarchy. He doesn't seek validation or approval. Instead, a threat becomes fuel, an opportunity to analyze, adapt, and strike back with precision. Psychology and behavioral studies show that individuals with high levels of self-awareness and autonomy, like the Sigma archetype, are more likely to respond to challenges with strategic introspection rather than reactive aggression. In moments of tension, the Sigma doesn't seek allies, he seeks clarity. He disappears from the noise and returns with sharpened purpose. This solitude isn't weakness, it's the forge where his next move is crafted. So if you're looking for how a Sigma handles being threatened, don't expect a scene. Expect silence, stillness, the calm before a calculated shift. Something powerful is always being rebuilt in the shadows. Stay curious, be unseen, be unfazed, and above all, be unforgettable.